The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 108 of the Daily Mother Swole. Again, slowly converting the show to the Daily Mother, obviously. As I just sit here and just flex at all of you. Flex on this live piece. So, is your trainer qualified? Education in the fitness industry. I am the proud recipient of a bachelor's degree in exercise science. There's a lot of education out there. There's a lot of resources that weren't available to people, 15, 20 years ago. Google didn't really bust out until, late 90s, early 2000s. Then you had Facebook, and then you had more and more interwebs. I remember dialing up to America Online in the early mid-90s, and obviously you had to pay by the minute. So, things were limited. You didn't go and just surf. Not to mention there wasn't a lot of great information. And if you remember, I'm 33, but if you remember when the internet started, the internet was almost kind of like, well, you don't trust anything on the internet. Now there's valuable resource. I think we can all agree. You go to Wikipedia, you're pretty much getting a real encyclopedia. I remember still growing up, we had a big encyclopedia set, and you would look through a book. Now it's almost hard to imagine, looking through a book where information's been printed and can't change dynamically. Now it's like a whole different way of getting information where it can be updated instantly. Like, you would never go and look and open a book, at least an encyclopedia. You might open like an actual resource, but at the same time, that can be manipulated, that can change on the spot, and that latest information that happened 35 seconds ago will be on the internet. So it becomes a challenge of knowing not only knowing where to look, but knowing what to look for. So what resources are you using? What information are you getting? And the difference between the last 20 years or 15 years ago and today is that the internet is the place for information. It is the place for information. It's not the place just for entertainment and lies. You have that too, but there's so much quality, 100% truthful, honest content out there that the internet has just been a place, obviously, where we all go for everything. We go to buy things, we go to get answers, but there's also a lot of fluff. So you have to know how to sift through this information, and it also relates back to personal training and being educated in fitness. Where do you look? What do you look for? So with personal training, in the United States at least, I know I have a lot of international people coming in here. I don't know what it's like in your country, so understand I am in the United States of America. I don't know what it's like in France or Portugal or South America. It could be similar. It could be more wide open, but that's a great thing for like input and like Q&A and stuff. I'm actually very interested to hear what regulations, because a lot of times it's more strict than we would expect. In the United States, you think, oh, well, everything's done the best here. That's the way a lot of Americans think. And in some ways, there's a reason why people travel and often move to the United States more than vice versa. But at the same time, a lot of regulations in other countries are surprisingly, and oftentimes more strict or more less lenient and less gray area, less wild west, so to speak, than the United States. So there are a lot of, a lot of stereotypes there. So with the United States, for personal training, as a personal trainer, what is a personal trainer? You could define this in many different ways, but a personal trainer, you need a script for vitamins in Germany. See, there you go. I mean, which actually probably should be the case, because you could have dangerous amounts of vitamins just from over the counter. Not to mention the United States, a lot of companies have gotten busted for selling vitamins when they're not really in there. So I'd rather have a script for vitamins and make sure I know I'm getting the vitamins that I'm paying for than go to Walmart and get like sawdust, which they find in some things sometimes when they do tests because it's not regulated. It's crazy. A personal trainer is a motivator, it's a coach, it's a guide. But more so than that, a personal trainer in my opinion, should be a fitness expert. That's why I do not like to classify myself as a personal trainer. I don't look at myself as an entry-level fitness personnel. So you have things out there like lawyers and doctors where there's a minimal engagement, there's a minimal education, there's a minimal bar. From a legal standpoint, in a lawyer, literally it's called the bar exam, and the medical doctor is called the boards, where you have to literally, no matter what school you go to, no matter what what your education is, like where you got it from for medical school, you have to pass this. You have to do a minimum of this in order to be allowed to practice medicine and go through the other certifications to be a licensed doctor and practitioner of medicine, of law, and so forth. With personal training, we don't have that in this country. And the issue with fitness and this vision of expertise is that people are gullible. People want to believe. People want to believe, like freaking Mulder in the X-Files. He wants to believe. People here want to believe that someone in a gym wearing a shirt that says personal trainer knows what they're talking about. And there's this innate, like this underlying, still back from when human beings were 3 years old and 4 years old, of wanting to believe that Santa Claus exists, of wanting to believe the Easter Bunny, and wanting to believe in all these, the Tooth Fairy. People want to believe. We do. We're optimistic in general. We've become more skeptical in some ways, but we're very, very, very dangerously gullible in many other ways. The problem with this is that there's no correlation between us wanting good information and having the ability to receive and, benefit from quality information, because the entry level is so bland and so wide. There's no regulation for personal training to be a fitness professional. You technically don't even need a certification. It depends on what the gym requires. If the gym requires you to have X, Y, and Z certification, it is that gym's right to require. It's a private business. I could require someone to do 100 jumping jacks to be able to work for me. Okay, if you can't do 100 jumping jacks, you can't work here. I'm sure there's certain rules and regulations and that's discriminatory. I can't do jumping jacks, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to go to court. It's going to be on CNN. It's going to be the biggest story in the United States. If there's nothing else going on in the news, that's like the media for you. But you need to have, let's say, a certification from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. That could be a requirement. You could also have a certification from the American Council on Exercise, ACE. That could be a requirement. Most gyms, like most general gyms, will have a list of, we accept A through Z certifications. We accept these. But what's the regulating quality across those? A lot of them, there are certified. There's a governing agency that will certify and qualify certain certifications, and you get like a stamp of approval because these certifications passed these sorts of requirements. But these are educational. This is educational. And it might surprise you to know, and I've talked about this before, I think it was in episode 11 or 14 about personal training. And I will get into this more and more because I know a lot about this. There are oftentimes no physical test when you get a certification. So you can be smart, be a good test taker, never set foot in a gym, get a CPR certification, and then take a test and become a certified personal trainer. That's pretty scary. So a certification or even a degree doesn't necessarily mean that this person will have the capacity to not only have command of the material, to know how to do it really safely, to even look the part, which this is a huge thing that bothers me a lot as well, and be able to pass on this information in a cohesive and coherent fashion to someone who knows even less, who's like a soft sponge, who will almost pretty much believe anything that you tell them because you have a shirt that says, gym on it, personal trainer on the back. The field is it's sketchy. It's very dangerous. And some of you already are on social media a lot, and you know this because you look around and you see all these fitness experts selling nutritional plans and selling nutritional programs and custom programs. Email me for diet plans. For a long time, I didn't get involved with social media. I didn't get involved with everything to this level, what I'm doing now, because I'm like, this is a wash. This is just overblown. This is completely, saturated. That's another reason why I didn't start doing this earlier. I didn't have the right vision. It wasn't the right time for me. I realized that. Even though as much as I think, oh, I could have done this then, this is, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I wasn't ready. Otherwise I would have done it. There is so much that is out there that is complete and utter bullshit. And most of you, and it could be you that are watching live, it could be you that are watching on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're consuming this information, whether you're listening to it on a podcast or you're watching it live or a replay, there's so much more crap than you could ever imagine. There's so many more people that you're following on Instagram and on YouTube that are taking anabolic steroids than you can ever imagine. You would never think that 90% of the people that you follow are taking X, Y, and Z because you personally don't know what anabolic steroids do. You're not aware of what they do and how subtle they can do work and how much these massive guys actually take. Because you take anabolic steroids, you don't get huge. It takes years and it takes a lot of them. These pro bodybuilders are taking 20 or 30 different things, including growth and insulin and all these other types of drugs. They're taking many, 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 many different kinds simultaneously. Some of these people that you're seeing that are skinny, that are lean, they're taking something. I'm not saying that they are for sure, but there are a lot of false prophets out there. There are a lot of people that will tell you A and give you X. They'll tell you B and they'll give you Y. Selling these faux, just fake, diet plans, cookie cutter things. That's pretty much common sense. It's pretty much train, shut your mouth. Half these things that you'll see online, workout plans, will work if you do them consistently because it's physical exercise. If you don't exercise a lot and you don't have a big background, if you don't have a lot of experience with fitness, your body is like a soft sponge and you'll react a lot better to physical activity. You will react pretty well to any workout program if you stick to it. A lot of people are surprised, wow, this workout program worked for me. Yeah, because you actually did something. You actually did it regularly for weeks on end. Of course it's going to work. You're lifting weights heavy and you're eating this right way and you're doing it for 2 months in a row. Of course you're going to see results. Did that work for you? Sure. Would the other one have worked for you? Probably. So there's this idea that there's something magic out there. There's an idea that something is, oh my God, this is the answer. No, most of the time it's consistency, putting your head down and grinding it out and looking at the big picture and working hard every day, whether you feel good or not. It's not motivation, it's discipline. Going back to the education, those personal trainers and the education required is very, very, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes in the quality in this country. And there's a lot of entry-level shit that's put out there, or even no certifications, because you're not really required to have a certification either. If someone's going to hire you, you don't technically need a certification unless the gym requires you. If you're training someone at their house and they don't care if you have a certification or not, then you don't need a certification. It's always good to have insurance, and some insurances require you to have a certification. Most good ones would. But, where's that's personal liability. Where's the regulation? Where's the education? Where's the standard? It's just like supplementation in this country. It comes down to the person. It comes down to the client. What is important to the client? But that's also a positive. Think about this. It's also an opportunity because otherwise it might be cost inhibitive or cost prohibitive for some of you to be a qualified personal trainer, to get into the field. Not everyone can afford $140,000, $150,000 for school. It's absurd. It's ludicrous. And it's ludicrous to charge that much for an exercise science degree for what's oftentimes going to end up to be a personal training career, because there are few to zero jobs that you can get with an exercise science major. This is gold knowledge. This is experience. This is truth. There are very few positions that you can get with a bachelor's degree in exercise science without higher education. So if you want to go to med school, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to do something extra, it's a nice track for a master's or a doctorate or whatever you're trying to do. But if you want to be a personal trainer, do not get a degree in exercise science. That is a waste of money and time. It's just a waste. You can learn on Google. You can learn on YouTube. You can learn from experience. You can absorb and read everything. You do not need that degree. No gym is going to require you to have a degree. The older generation might care more about that piece of paper, but 150 grand, really? A personal training certification is like $700, $500. I'm not saying you'll be qualified if you just got a certification, but you can be. A lot of your personal trainers don't have a degree. Most of them don't. I don't regret getting a college degree, but you're also spinning your wheels, learning a lot of bullshit, wasting your time. The education system in this country is laughable, and it's a scam. It's a business. You're getting fucking hosed. You're getting absolutely hosed. What you need to do is to get fucking hungry. I went to college. I have a degree in exercise science. I have a CSCS. It's the Certified Strength Conditioning Certification from the NSCA, which is what orthopedists and physical therapists and professional strength coaches have. You can only get it with a 4-year degree. I taught for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I have all 3 of their certifications. I am very worldly when it comes to certifications. I teach certifications. I teach workshops. I've been there, done that. And you don't even, honestly, really for knowledge, you don't even need these certifications. You just need them if a business wants you to have them. My point is this. There's no right answer. If you want a degree, if something requires you to have a degree, if you want to go to med school, you need to do X, Y, and Z, then you have to do X, Y, and Z. If you want to work at this one place and they want you to get this certification, but you really want to work there, then guess what? You have to get that certification. It's just the way it is. But there is just something about being hungry for what you want. If you want information, then fucking go get it. If you want to learn about fitness, then fucking go get it. Go do it. You have to be hungry. You have to want to absorb everything. That's the bottom line. I have a degree. I learned just as much, if not more, by reading everything I could get my hands on workout programs, going in the gym and doing it, eating more food, trying these supplements. I did so much personal experimentation, obviously. I didn't read a book and fucking gain muscle. I didn't read a book. I didn't get a degree. I didn't get a certification and just grow muscle. I read every Flex magazine I get my hands on. I tried these workout programs. I cross-checked them. I broke them down. I read up on the science behind them. I read up on these supplements. For the record, they promote bodybuilders, but they don't promote steroids or anabolic use. That, if anything, the opposite. They talk about the dangers of it. So Flex magazine was always great growing up. I haven't read it recently, but that was great. Like in the early 2000s, that's what I was absorbing. Books, just the internet. I was doing so much research and so much actual application of this knowledge. It was absurd. And guess what? The discipline and the dedication works, and I learned. I learned from trial and error. I learned from doing things personally. I've done pretty much every type of workout program there is in some way or another. I've tried it. Of course, I find like a routine what works best for me, what I'm happy with, what I can stay consistent with, and everyone does. You can't do everything all the time. That's how you get hurt, and that's how you don't see progress towards a specific goal. You want to go bike riding, then you want to go run, then you want to go mountain climbing, then you want to lift, and then you want to do high reps, and you want to go for a walk, and then you want to go swimming. Yeah, you'll be slender, and you'll be able to do all those things kind of well. But if you want any specific goals and adaptations, I talked to you about that. You need to pick one and fucking work around that, and that could be your centric exercise. But you have to be consistent. So you have to get hungry. You have to get hungry for knowledge. You have to get hungry for what you want. I don't care if you have a degree. This is my point. It doesn't matter if you have a degree. Spend 500 grand on a degree. Doesn't matter. Don't get a degree. Get a certification. Doesn't matter. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to want knowledge far and beyond what any of those things will give you. It's going to give you a piece. They're both going to give you a piece of paper. One's going to be about 140 grand. One's going to be about maybe 300 to 700 bucks, depending if you do a workshop or not. Okay? What's the difference? Honestly, not too much. One's going to have 4 years, going to have a lot of bullshit classes that's going to fill up their pockets and waste your fucking time. That's the college. And the certification is going to teach you how to answer these questions on a test. You're going to learn some cool terminology, and you're going to get a piece of paper that says, hey, I could do this. And you're going to get a CPR certification because you need that before you even take some of these certifications. And that's it. So one, the degree might give you some hands-on experience. The personal training certification will chances are not give you any hands-on experience unless you did like a day workshop, which will cost you more, and it's only one fucking day. But their goal is to get you to, the certification's goal is to get you to pass the test so you have your certification, so that you can spend more money on CEUs and maintain that certification. Certification is a business. College is a business. Well, what's your business? What do you want to know? How good of a trainer do you want to be? How well do you want to know your craft? My point is, I don't care what the fuck you choose. Certification, degree, you don't need them. They could be beneficial. You might need them for a specific job, for a specific path. But if you're not hungry for knowledge and to hone your craft and to put in the time, you are going to be shit with either of those. It doesn't make you a professional. It doesn't make you an expert. My God, it does not. Okay? I call myself a fitness expert, anything but a personal trainer, because I refuse to be categorized with people that just get a fly-by-night certification and think that they know shit, because they know dick. And I can smell that from across the fucking room, and I'll tell you what, it stinks. It stinks. It sucks. I wish there was a license for personal training. I wish there was a board exam for the state. I wish there was a higher level of requirement to perform these medical movements with excessive resistance that can put someone in a hospital. Personal training is a high risk. It's a super high risk. I don't think people put enough stress on how high risk it is. You're giving someone excessive overload on their joints in very dangerous situations with compensation and injuries, which you can't tell because you don't know what's going on inside their joints or their real history unless they told you. And still, they could be embellishing. They could be lying. They could have slip discs, bulging discs. They could have, sciatic issues. They could have imbalances. They could have tight hip flexors. Their lower spine could be could be at severe risk because of, let's see, excessive extension in the lower back, and their discs are already for example the cushioning in between L4 and L5 is just completely just pummeled. You need to be aware that there's so much more to the human body than you ever thought. Like anything, if you go mattress shopping, you learn more about mattresses than you ever thought possible. You're like, oh my God, there's a whole world here. There's a whole world in everything, and the human body is the most complicated world out there. Don't take that for granted. Don't ever think that you know your craft. Don't ever think that you really, really know. To be an expert, you have to know every aspect. You have to come at it from every angle. And there's experience that you cannot buy. There's experience that you cannot purchase, you cannot read in a book. How do you find the best PT you can afford? That's a great question. There's no real good answer for that. How do you find? If you care about certifications, it's great for someone to have a certification. That's a great question. Some of these websites have certification finders where you can type in your location, your zip code. Like the National Academy of Sports Medicine, some of these you can type in a zip code and it'll bring up a list of certified personal trainers in your area. At the same time, that doesn't mean they're good. What people do not ask is for referrals. You should ask, hey, do you have referrals? Like, do you have references? If a trainer does not or reacts or pauses or acts shocked or does not have like referrals handy that they can give you, that's a good reason to be like, no. Either they're not a good business person, they don't have anyone that would speak highly enough for them to recommend them. It's just a common business. You want references. You want someone who would recommend them. You want clients. You don't want their brother from Kansas to be recommending them. It's great to get feedback from another person who's actually been with them for a certain amount of time. You don't necessarily need to be like, not every trainer is going to have like transformation pictures, because I don't personally do like transformation pictures before and afters unless the client has them. That's not my goal. But it's great to have, I think a PT with similar interests are good, help to relate and hopefully motivate. You're going to have that personal connection. You're going to have to find someone that you enjoy spending time around, because you're going to be spending time around them, and a good portion of money for that kind of assistance and that kind of guidance. So you need a PT that's going to be worth the value, be worth it to you. You need one that's going to take that interest into your results. They're not just in it to, please say my PT is the best there is at my gym. Well, and here's the thing. On Busker, my PT is the best there is at my gym. I'm lucky he charges 25% more. And if he's the best at your gym, then he should charge 25% more. He should. He should. I mean, someone's value or someone's worth only the amount that someone's willing to pay for it. A Ferrari is only worth $500,000 or $400,000 because people are willing to pay $400,000 for it. That's the only reason. If no one paid $400,000 for a Ferrari, then they would go out of business. It's just a fact. So the value or perceived value, if you're a personal trainer yourself and in your area you can't get more than $50 for an hour, then that's the price point in your area, and that's just the way it is. There's some trainers out there that are getting a lot more, but in my opinion, it's like laughable. It's like, wow, they're good salespeople because they definitely don't really know what they're talking about. Or do they? It depends on the client. Some clients don't really want someone with 12 degrees. They want someone that will get them to lift weights. Some clients know how to lift weights, they just won't do it unless they have someone that they're paying that will tell them what to do. There's so many different shades, and that's why I said at the beginning, it's going to be kind of general. This because it depends on what the client wants. It all comes down to that. If you're the client, what are you looking for? If you want someone educated, then you better do your research and find someone that's educated and know what to look for. If you want someone who's going to motivate you, then you have to look for personality. Obviously, you want someone that knows what they're talking about, but it's up to the client to have an understanding of fitness and exercise in order to ask the right questions and know what answers that should be given. And for someone to say that they don't know, don't think of that as like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. It takes a lot for someone to say they don't know. If you know me and you've been in my scopes a lot, you ask me a question that I don't know, I will say I don't know. I will say I don't know. I am fine saying I don't know something. Freaking doctors don't know everything. They have to look things up. I know where to find the right information. I know the right information when I see it. But it's okay not to know everything off the top of your head, but you should have a really broad knowledge and understanding of fitness, of psychology with fitness, of kinesiology. There are a lot of basics that a trainer or an expert should know and be aware of. We'll stay for a couple minutes after. Remember, I'm going to be on Monday Morning Motivation at 12:50, which apparently is coming up in like 5 or 10 minutes. So I'll rescope in a couple minutes. Remember, Swolenormous Premium members, those of you that are following me here, Swolenormous Premium accountability meeting at like 1, maybe 1:05, depending on if I run long on Monday Morning Motivation. If you are looking to get some more accountability, some more one-on-one style training, more detailed information, more applicable information for what I give here, I have my Swolenormous Premium Facebook group. It's $4.99 a month. You can sign up on my website, Swolenormous.com. And I'm going to be pushing this a lot more because I'm going to be ramping that up even more. We're doing a lot of stuff with overhead squat compensations, and it's a great resource for anyone that's looking to lose more weight or build more muscle. We do some program design. We do some breakdowns of individual goals, all sorts of things. So it's a great accountability group to stay on track, and people are seeing great results with it. So, stop spamming my shit. Fucking Christ. Anyway, yeah, I just got friggin' trolled like crazy on Periscope. So, Swolenormous.com, that's my website. You click Get Premium, $4.99 a month, and that gives you access to the application and sign up for the private Facebook group where you will get more detailed access to nutrition, program design, exercise, corrective exercise, and accountability with me and with my group. So, yeah, just you, Potato Shed. So, report them, block them, it's fine. They could go bother someone else. So, I will see everyone in a couple minutes on Monday Morning Motivation. If you have any questions, you could always just check me out in the private scope. If you're a part of Premium, you can hold those questions to the accountability meeting. And otherwise, I will see everyone tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time on the Daily Swole. I'll see you tomorrow for episode was it 109? Damn, getting up there again. Getting old. Thanks, Potato Shed. See you guys later, and I'll see you in a few minutes for Monday Morning Motivation. Peace out. Enjoy your Monday.